how to narrow your networking to expand your business. A little bit of a play on words, right? Narrow your networking, expand your business. And it's almost a contradiction in terms, right? How can I expand my business if I narrow my networking? But we're all experienced business people, or we are friends with experienced business people. And what do they tell you? They tell you to niche, right? The riches are in the niches. So why do we find ourselves networking with everyone and anyone, talk to anybody who gets within 5 feet of you, that sort of thing? Why do we do that? Why don't we follow that same business advice of narrowing down and niching? Why are we not doing that in our networking? I want to give you 3 aspects of your networking and your business to look at and give you some ideas and strategies on how to narrow your networking in that aspect. So the first aspect to look at is, where are you going for your networking? Who are you targeting? And third, what are you selling? So let's start by talking about, where are you going? Now, back in the old days, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that meant groups that you were going to, luncheons, mixers, physical places that you were going to. And of course, these days, we've also added online. And I always think of going online literally as going online, going to places and showing up. How many places are you going, both in person and online? If you want to comment in the chat, if you can think of off the top of your head, is it 1 or 2? Is it 5 to 10? Is it 10 to 20? And I'm counting Facebook groups that you're part of. I'm counting your different social media platforms. So it might be your Facebook, it might be your LinkedIn, it might be your group that maybe you're running, it might be Blitzer, it might be different organizations that you are part of where you go to network. How many do you have? I think if you stopped and looked and really thought about all the places where you are trying to go, all the places where you're trying to show up, it's huge. And what happens is, let's say you've got 100% of your networking time and ability, and you've got 10, 20 things, you're only giving each thing 5 to 10% of your attention. When I work with my marketing clients, one of the first things I do is have them stop marketing. Not completely, of course, but we look at the things that they are doing and I ask them, are you giving this the attention it deserves? Is this fully optimized? Is it even halfway optimized? And if you don't have the time or energy to fully optimize something, or to fully participate, or not even fully, but at least 3/4, then maybe it's something you don't need to do. I know the fear is that, well, if I stop going to all these places, I'm going to miss out on a lead. I'm going to miss out on a potential connection. But are you really getting all of the potential leads and all of the attention to that group if you have 20 of them? So that's the first aspect. Where are you going, and how can you narrow down the places that you are going and the places that you are focusing on? So the second aspect is, who are you targeting? In other words, who's your target market? A great example. I had a referral group when I was running my Chamber of Commerce, and we spent a lot of time educating each other on what is a good referral for you. Who is a good referral for you? We had a Mary Kay representative come in, and she said, anyone with skin, anyone who wants to have beautiful skin. And we said, okay, is the homeless man on the corner of the big intersection, is he a good market for you? He really needs skincare, probably would be really helpful. Some sunscreen, that would probably be a really great product for him. She said, no, he has skin, but he has other issues that are more important than getting good quality skincare. So we kept working with her, narrow down. And she finally came up with an audience that seemed crazy narrow. Mary Kay lady took her potential audience from this big down to like this big. She narrowed it down to about a 10-year age span and some very specific demographics. What do you think happened? What do you think happened to her business? I know you know this. You know where this story is going. It exploded. It was fantastic. Her business exploded because she knew exactly who she was targeting, and she could describe, relate with, and understand very well that person. So narrowing down who you are targeting, even if you can help other people. So narrowing down, we call it the customer avatar. There's a lot of online tools to help you decide who your customer avatar is. And it can be this long, extensive process of what kind of magazines do they read? What kind of car do they read? What kind of car do they drive? What kind of clothes do they wear? What brands do they like? I think a lot of people end up not building a customer avatar because that process is so in depth sometimes, and they don't know this about their clients. So here's a really quick way to narrow down and target very specifically. Think about your top client or your best 5 clients, your favorite customers. What do they have in common? How did they find you? What do you do for them that they appreciate the most? What is your working relationship like? What kind of problem do you solve for them? That should be part of your marketing, right? That's part of your fundamental marketing. That's part of your fundamental business proposition. But how do they tell you about it? What kind of things do they say? And then what other problems go along with that? What kind of solutions have they tried, or what other services have they tried? So when you look at a handful of your best clients, you'll see things in common. And that starts to tell you that narrow, focused audience that you want to look for. And like I said about the Mary Kay person, when you know, and you can almost have an image in your mind or a very clear idea of who your target market is, then you can not only look for them, but you can tell other people how to look for them, and you can speak their language. I've had clients before, for example, a client that wanted to call themselves landscape architect. That's how they saw themselves, as a landscape architect. But people who are looking for a landscape designer, they use the word landscape designer. They don't use the word landscape architect. That's where understanding your target market helps you speak their language. And then finally, the way to narrow your networking is to narrow what you're selling. A lot of people have either multiple businesses, or they have multiple products or multiple product lines. Unless they are all very, very similar, or they're just different aspects of your business. If you have several different products or very different businesses, you've got a side hustle, you've got your main thing, don't bring them all up in your networking. Focus on one at a time. And that goes back to knowing where you're going, what kind of people are at this group. Okay, this product or service fits that group. Because if you tell people the 3 things that you're involved in, they won't remember. They'll get confused. You won't be memorable. That's one of the other mini webinars that we've done, is how to be more memorable when you network. Really narrow down where you are going, who you are targeting, and zero in on what you are selling to that particular event or that particular group or that particular audience. You narrow your networking. You don't confuse yourself. You focus. You can optimize everything that you're doing, so that right now, if it's only getting 10 or 20% of your time and attention, maybe it gets 30 or 40 or 50%. You get much better results. So narrow your networking to expand your business.